But now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our presenters for today. We have Catherine, Erica, and Tanya from the Arapahoe Library District. So I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Thanks. I'm just going to do a tech check again that everybody can see my screen that I have shared. That should be a PowerPoint presentation. Excellent. All right. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We're excited to be with you. Just as a reminder, you're not muted when you come into the meeting automatically, so please mute yourself as you come in. We are from the Arapahoe Libraries, which is the library district on the South Denver metro area of the Denver, Colorado. Like, where are we? I can't remember what's happening today. My name is Catherine. My pronouns are she and her. We also have a couple of my colleagues with me who I will let introduce themselves. Figure out a way to slide for that. Tanya.
Thank you. I'll go, yeah. I'm Tanya. I am a youth service librarian with Arapahoe Libraries, and I serve the ages 5 to 12 age group.
I'm Erica. I'm a teen services librarian with ALD. My pronouns are also she, her, and I serve teens ages 11 to 18.
So what we're going to be talking about today is some of the outreach that we do with schools. Our library is fairly unique in that we have some positions, the positions that Erica and Tanya are in, and the other librarians that I oversee and are on Tanya's team, who have a fairly large portion of our job that is dedicated to doing outreach in our community. And for us, that does mean that we do a lot of outreach with schools because we do have 5 school districts that fall within our district boundaries. We are 75 miles across. Arapahoe County is one of the long, skinny counties in Colorado. And so we're very geographically large, and we do work with all of those schools. Also, for those of you who are not in the state of Colorado, one of the things that we have observed and experienced in our school districts is that Colorado does not necessarily require school districts to have teacher librarians on staff. And so many of our schools that we work with don't have a librarian at all, sometimes don't have anyone who works in the library. So we're working directly with teachers and we're going in to offer support that we can. Also with COVID, we've all seen reading scores slide really, really far. And so we come in as a new face, a fresh face, to help try to get kids excited about reading. So we do other types of visits as well, but we do a lot of book talks. And so we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like for us.
Okay, so before we get started, for us, we wanted to kind of take a minute to talk about what a book talk is in our eyes during these visits. So I like to joke that a book talk is like a piece of performance art, and I'm only half kidding because that's actually one of the most accurate descriptions I think I've come up with for what we do. It's really art. It's more like a commercial, a quick performance, think like a movie trailer. We really just want to give a hook that gets kids and teens interested in the books that we've brought. And so usually that means including some teasers, not spoilers, except most of us, I think I can speak for, if the dog dies, we do give a heads up about that. But otherwise, we're really just trying to kind of advertise this book and explain and show why we found it so exciting. So we really avoid a summary or a book report. We'll talk about who the author is if that's relevant, but we're looking for short and sweet, about 1 to 3 minutes if we can.
Preparing for a visit. So there are a few things that we do to prepare for each visit. We do read every single book that we bring to schools. Just sometimes you get to the end of the book and there's something that you are just like, why did you have to put that in there? Now I can't bring it to 4th grade. So I would say 99.9% of the time we are reading every single book that we are bringing into a school. So that does take some time, obviously. We email our teachers a few days beforehand to remind them of the visit. We bring I just blanked on the words right in front of me, booktalk bookmarks. So the teens and the kids librarians do it a little bit differently, but all of the kids are walking away with some sort of handout with the books on it. So it has the book title, the book cover, and then sometimes the book description as well, so that kids can remember that one book that they wanted to hear about. Sometimes we hand those out during the visit so that they can mark them up as well. And those usually go to teachers and school librarians as well. We put those lists of books that we book talk on our website. So if you are ever interested in the books that we're bringing to schools on arapahoelibraries.org on the kids and teens pages, we do post the books that we're bringing every month to schools. That's helpful for staff and for our library patrons as well. And I think, did I get all the big things, guys? Yeah.
Starting this year, actually, we are going to be piloting a new program where we're going to be donating copies of every book that we bring, or a selection of the books that we bring, to the school libraries as well. Because one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we've heard from the kids is they want it right now. They want what we've talked about immediately, and that's always been one of our biggest struggles. Is you have to wait and put something on hold, and they want that immediacy of I want to check it out right now. So we're going to be testing that out this fall as we go back into schools. So we're excited about that. So during a visit, we try to set the stage. Again, it looks a little bit different if we're at an elementary school or middle school or high school, but we usually have them come down to the library for us in middle and high school. I think they go to the classrooms where they're like most comfortable at elementary schools. We will introduce the library. Usually when we're starting a visit, we ask kids to, at the start of the school year, we ask kids to share with us what they enjoy reading, so that the rest of our visits throughout the year, we can kind of use that as a touchstone for us to come back to and bring things that are of interest to the students. Yes, we read a lot. Yes, I feel like I know what a lot of the trends are for like middle grade and YA, and I want to hear what the kids are reading so that I can have what I'm bringing match their interests. That means that we do bring more manga and things like that, because that's something that's a very high interest. We always try to include graphic novels, things like that. We will talk about how the students get the books, how they get their hands on them. Like I said, hopefully this year we will be able to add access in their school library collections as a way to get books as well. We usually have whatever we're doing set up in the front. Sometimes we have PowerPoint presentations. Usually we try to have the physical books when possible. And this last couple of years, we've added some of these engagement activities that we're going to be playing with you all today. Because as you might know, almost no one really, even adults who are very interested in books and librarians, really want to sit and listen to people talk about books for an hour, just us talking. And so we've come up with some different games, basically, that we play with kids to get them more engaged, more interested. And so we will start to talk about some of what those look like.
Okay, so I think this is me. Do we have another slide for this?
Yes.
We did. That's what I thought. So we have several different types of audience engagement techniques that we bring. We do have some crossover between the youth teams and the teen team. Some of those are shown here. So the youth team sometimes brings a spinner or ways to vote for which book sounded most interesting to you. And then some of the other ones that we have that we use, especially on the teen team and sometimes on the youth team as well, are our book talk bingo, our would you rather, our judge a book by its cover, blind date with a book, and I feel like I'm missing one. My brain just completely emptied out. Speed dating, thank you. It's right in front of me. And that's what I couldn't find. So Tanya and I, we're on the same wavelength here today. Anyway, so we're going to be modeling some of these activities for you today. Several of them, as many as we can pack into one webinar, basically. What we're going to start with talking about is our book talk bingo, because that's going to run in the background the entire time. We have created a bingo card for you that should work for you digitally. If you want to scan the QR code, you should be able to generate your own bingo card. We've also provided a list of what we call universal bingo terms. These are terms that are a little more generic and could apply to any book talk visit that we do. You'll see a mix of genre terms or setting terms, terms that describe the cover, but you'll also see some fun ones, we hope, that we slid in there, such as librarian tells a bad joke. We will let students know at the beginning that they are free to mark off a bingo term as they happen. So, for example, the librarian tells a bad joke. I'm fairly certain I've covered that at some point already while talking. You can feel free to mark that one off if you have it. Or librarian is wearing glasses. That's kind of a freebie as well. But the other terms, if they relate to a specific book, which some of them will, don't mark those off until we talk about that book. We will not repeat ourselves. We get asked to repeat ourselves almost every single time. So that's one of the rules that we do have to repeat. And we will say a term. If the term is going to be said, we will say it. We encourage students to call out bingo if they've gotten one during the session. They can raise their hands, they can call it out, we'll cheer for them. But then we do prizes at the end, and we do usually bring prizes. Often those prizes involve either candy, or for the students who don't want to have candy, we'll bring little pop-it keychains or those little mochi squishy toys. Very, very popular as well. So again, those bingo terms will have a mix of those generic terms, which will be in that handout, as well as some terms that are more specific to the actual book. So we encourage you to play along as we do our other book talk activities as well. And if you get a bingo, same thing for you as for students. By all means, pop it in the chat, or if you want to turn your screen on and do a little dance, we will appropriately cheer for you. But that's book talk bingo. It is one of our most popular, I think, not just because we give out prizes, I think at least. They really just enjoy getting a bingo. So bingo in the background. And then the first one that we're going to start with is going to be our would you rather. And so we'll usually, when we're introducing this to students, start off by saying, how many of you have played would you rather? And many hands will go up. But for those that haven't played before, would you rather is basically we're going to give you two options. And then we're going to ask, would you rather option A or would you rather option B? We're going to ask for a show of hands. In the case of this webinar, we're going to ask you to put a mark in the chat. When we ask you, again, would you rather option A? And then we'll have you vote. Or would you rather option B? And then we'll have you vote on that one. Whichever one wins, we'll give our more full book talk for. And then the one that wasn't selected, we usually give a sentence or two quick book talk as well for those students who maybe wanted to hear about that book but didn't get a chance to. All right, so with that introduction, let's dive in. So, would you rather ghost job edition? Would you rather be a ghost therapist or be a ghost buster? Who would rather be a ghost therapist? You can mark this in the chat. All right. And who would rather be a ghost buster? Got two Ghostbusters already. I love that ghost emoji, by the way. It's one of my favorites. I think I'm seeing more therapists than Ghostbusters, so I think we're going to go with therapist. This is not the right one. Ooh, they got swooped up. Excellent. Those of you who haven't marked off librarian made a bad joke, I really got you today. I pretty much have you every day. Anyway, I'm going to start with the ghost keeper. This one is the ghost therapist. This is a very recently published graphic novel that I finished and loved and had to put into this presentation. I would recommend this for grades 6 and up. It is about our friend Dorian, who you can see on the cover, and you might see that Dorian's eyes have some different looking pupils. That's because when Dorian was a young child, he almost drowned and almost died. Something rescued him, but this kind of experience not only left him with some understandable trauma, it also left him with ghost sight. He can see ghosts. And he uses this gift to help ghosts pass on. But his approach is very different from the ghost exorcists in town. The exorcists in town use a chemical that's really painful for ghosts and really sad. Dorian talks with them and helps them kind of figure out, why are they still here? What are the things that he wants? In doing so, he helps them avoid the rot that can grow on them and turn them into a really scary ghost or a banshee. This makes him kind of an outcast with almost everybody in town, except for the very sweet, very cute bookstore owner. Happens to be where Dorian lives as well. And things are kind of just going along that way. He's an outcast, but his new relationship is going well until one day, too many ghosts start showing up because someone has somehow stolen the key to death's door. And without that key, these ghosts, even though they're feeling better, can't pass on. It turns out that this key has attached itself to a little girl ghost, and Dorian has to try to help this little girl give him the key, feel better enough to pass on, while also managing the increasing demands from all the other ghosts who are expecting Dorian to take care of their rot. This was really lovely. The illustrations are really beautiful. The story is really good, looks at self-care in a really touching way, as well as grief. The other one is Ghost Roast. This would be the Ghostbuster. This one is about a girl named Chelsea who has to spend the summer on punishment working for her father, who is basically a Ghostbuster, though they call it roasting ghosts. Turns out that even though she doesn't believe in ghosts, they are real, and Chelsea has the ability to both hear and see them, which leads to her empathizing with them and not wanting to roast them so much. Ghost Roast, also really beautiful illustrations, and I would recommend that one for grades 7 and up.
Okay, I think it's mine. Would you rather boarding school edition? Would you rather go to school to become a spy, or go to school with a secret society and many mysteries? Ooh, this feels tight. What do you think, Catherine?
It looks like Secret Society took it.
All right, they're both good. All right, we'll do Secret Society. Secret Society is the Liar Society. I am really excited about this one. So excited for the second book. This is about a girl named Weatherby. And Weatherby usually feels like a fish out of water most of the time. She has recently received a scholarship to the prestigious Boston School. It's a school where her dad, who she has never met, went to school when he was a kid. And Weatherby is really excited to maybe try to find out more information about her dad. But Weatherby has a hard time fitting in at this school. Most of these kids are rich. They live lives that she doesn't have. She doesn't have a lot of friends, but what she does have is secrets. And Weatherby will do anything to protect them. On the other hand, we have Jack. Jack's family has been going to the Boston School for years. He is completely different than Weatherby. His family is rich and privileged, and he basically gets what he wants when he wants it. But Jack also has some secrets that he is desperate to hide. In this school, there is a school trip every year to a private island. It's only exclusive to the Boston students, but the money this year has been stolen. Jack and Weatherby are kind of both looking into this mystery of the stolen money when they're invited to play a high stakes game. But if they don't win this game, something bad could happen. Be on the lookout for the second book. And there apparently are a lot of Easter eggs in this one that will help you with the second one. The Go to School to Become a Spy is The Misfits, a royal conundrum. This would be great for kids who feel like misfits themselves, like spy stories, and are in for an adventure. Both of these books, I would say, are good for 4th grade and up.
All right. Would you rather experience Invasion of the Body Snatchers or an AI takeover? You can put A or B if that's easier in the chat. Oh. Funny because when I book talk this one with with students in middle schools, they usually choose the AI takeover. I just don't know if maybe like Invasion of the Body Snatchers is maybe not as culturally relevant to them as it is to perhaps older people. Anyway, we'll do Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is a YA book, so probably I would say 8th grade and up for this one. Out of Body, Nia Davenport, came out earlier this year. It features Elsie and Megan, who have become best friends over the summer. Megan is our point of view main character. Elsie is this mysterious new person who has appeared. And after going to a party one night, Megan wakes up not in her own body. She wakes up in Elsie's body. Nobody believes her. Everyone thinks she's delusional. She's kicked out. Like when she tries to go home, she's kicked out of her house. Elsie, who does seem to be in Megan's body, is pretending that she doesn't know Elsie or Megan in Elsie's body at all, and that she's kind of lost it. As Megan starts to investigate what has happened, what she discovers is that Elsie actually drugged her, put this little chip in her neck, and switched bodies, and has been doing this for a while. She's the 3rd or 4th body that has been taken over. So she's trying to trace it back. This book is full of like intrigue. Who can you trust? Who can you not? It's very tense as you're like, is she going to get back into her own body in time, or is it going to be too late? I really enjoyed it. It is very intense. It's a little bit violent. There's some good stuff, but that's Out of Body. If you like sci-fi, I've been really sad that there's not been as much sci-fi published lately, and this is a really good, solid sci-fi option. The other choice is The Ruby Code. This would be great for your fans of Ready Player One, of virtual reality worlds, and it does have one of the most interesting and fleshed out AI characters that I've ever read. So highly recommend. And that one is middle grade, so I would say it's probably fine for 5th grade and up.
Okay, would you rather dystopian future edition? Would you rather live in a world of sub-zero temps or live in a world that's underwater? We have a like very clear winner on this one. Interestingly enough,
Almost unanimous.
yeah, sub-zero temps is the usual winner in schools. So excellent. Okay, live in a world that's underwater. Let's see if I did it right this time in these slides. Yes, score. Okay, this is Into the Sunken City, which I would say is good for grades 6 and up. I've book talked it for 6 and up. This one is a retelling of Treasure Island. It is about a girl named Jin who lives far, far in the future in a time when, due to climate change, the world is almost entirely underwater. Spoiler alert, Colorado, we're good, we make it. The area where Jin lives, more underwater than Colorado though. What happened was the scientists, in an effort to fix climate change, shot some things up into the sky. Pro tip, if you're ever reading a book or watching a movie or ingesting any kind of media where scientists shoot things into the sky to make things better, chances are it's not going to make anything better. And that's definitely the case in this book. In this book, what happened was what they called the stitching. The clouds all came together and it started raining and didn't stop. The sun has now not been seen in many, many years. Jin, for example, has never seen the sun, though she dreams of doing so. Jin and her sister are on their own. Both of their parents have died. And so to supplement their income, Jin works as a diver. She's very good. She's one of the best, which turns out to kind of be to her detriment when an older woman comes to their motel one night and asks to stay and reveals that she needs help because she knows where there is a cache of tons of gold, this huge treasure, but she needs Jin to die for it. Trouble comes when it turns out that this woman is not the only one after the treasure. So is a group of pirates that feels this woman has betrayed them. And so now Jin ends up getting kidnapped by the pirates and forced to help them dive searching for this treasure. Lots of intrigue in this one as well. Also some kind of tense, scary moments. Some monstrous things happening underneath the ocean for sure. But also a really great, solid dystopian book with some really fun kind of Easter eggs that you'll recognize from places now. And the other one, living in sub-zero temps, is Snow Globe. This one is also dystopian. It's set in a future world where the temperatures are so cold all the time that everyone possibly die, except for people who are living in the snow globe, which kind of makes you think of The Truman Show. It's populated by actors whose lives are broadcast 24/7. And when a girl on the outside ends up in the snow globe, she quickly finds that reality TV is not what it appears. Also good for grade 6 and up.
Okay. Ghost edition again. Be confronted with a scary ghost or be confronted with an annoying ghost. Oh, I think I see
I feel
lots
like
of
you were
them.
leading them to the one that you wanted on that one.
It's
Because
actually
who
not.
wants to
I
actually
really
see a scary ghost?
because it's fake. I like the scary ghost book better. So you're probably getting more than 2 sentences. I'm just kidding. The annoying ghost one is really good as well, though. So this one is Benny Ramirez and the Nearly Departed. This is for kids who maybe don't like spooky stories, but want a little bit of ghost action in their books. This is about a boy named Benny, and he and his family are moving across the country to move into his late grandfather's Miami mansion. Benny didn't really ever know his grandfather. His grandfather was a famous musician, a trumpet player, and he didn't really come around a lot to see his family. He wasn't really known to be that great of a guy to the people who actually knew him. Benny is not really excited to move. The mansion seems kind of cool, but he and his siblings are being enrolled in a performing arts school. But Benny, unfortunately, has zero talents, unlike his siblings. So he's not really sure what he's going to do. To Benny's surprise, when he gets in to this new house, he will be staying in one of his grandfather's rooms, and his grandfather is not exactly gone. It turns out that the ghost of his grandfather was barred from the afterworld, the afterlife, until he can do something good. And so Benny is now starting to converse and hang out with his grandpa, who is very annoying, by the way. But they decide that maybe they can work together. Benny's grandfather decides that he will teach his young grandson to play the trumpet so that he'll have a talent at school. But through it all, Benny starts to realize that he doesn't actually like the trumpet. He wants to cook, and he has to figure out how he can even get his grandpa back into the afterworld. So this book is very funny, unforgettable, laugh out loud. The ending will have you touched. And then Be Confronted with a Scary Ghost. I loved this one. This one is Not Quite a Ghost by Anne Ursu. This one is about a girl who also moves to a new house, but when she moves into her attic bedroom, it is definitely not an annoying ghost that is up there. So I will also say that if we book talk this in schools, the kids would choose Scary Ghost. So it's always funny to see the differences.
Very into horror. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do this one as a lightning round so that we have time to play all of our other games. So, would you rather sentient zombies or horror Jumanji? Oh, I'm not seeing the things. Oh, it's very split. I feel like it's pretty even. Oh, zombies may have won this one. Okay. You'll get to hear a little bit about both. We'll do Sentient Zombies first. So that's Heart Still Beating. Came out earlier this year. This is excellent for people who wanted warm bodies, but less funny and more sad, if you're familiar with the Warm Bodies movie and book that came out a few years ago. Also, a really good choice for anyone who's been super into The Last of Us. Now that it's been made a TV show, it's really grown in popularity. This one is there was like this infection that went out. The zombies in this book are called ticks. They figured out how to feed ticks some medicine to make them mostly human again, although every now and then they want to still eat people. And the main character is a tick who is going back to her like the island enclave where her family lives. It's a little awkward because she ate her parents before she was put into rehab. So she's trying to figure out how to go back, how to maybe make amends with her girlfriend. This one I would say is probably for high school and up, but really, really good. Has a really sweet, sweet queer romance. I really enjoyed it a lot. The other one, Horror Jumanji, is Find Him Where You Left Him Dead. And that's a very apt, you don't really need to know more than that, but this one definitely is Japanese inspired, and they're playing a game called, I think it's Maido. I probably have said that wrong, M-E-I-D-O. But for like a year ago or 4 years ago, 5 friends started a game. Only 4 of them came back, and now the ghost of the one who didn't come back is haunting them, and they realize they have to go finish the game. This one is super intense, but for your horror fans, really creepy. Probably 8th grade and up for that one. So now we're going to play another game. So we play Judge a Book by its cover. We usually start with the bad joke that, like, everyone's always told you that you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but we're librarians and we give you permission. And there's a lot of groans and they get into it. But the rules for this game, basically, we're going to give you 2 book covers and one very cryptic description. And you have to vote for which one you think it is. And we'll tell you if you're right or not. And then we'll tell you about the book that it actually is. Again, kids really get into this. It's like bragging rights if they guess correctly every time. There's a lot of cheering. So you really have to be okay with a little bit of noise, a little bit less of a quiet and peaceful group listening to you. But if you, like me, feed off of that energy, then it's a really fun one because they get super into it. Oh, and I'm first. And this is perhaps my favorite pairing I've ever done. So this book is about a school club that goes to fight for justice for period product access. Now, who thinks it's Manny Samia finds her Quetzal voice? And then you can do A for that, or B if you think it is free period. I will say that the mean joke that I've played on you for this one, if you aren't familiar with both titles, is that both of them are kind of about that. That description actually works for either book, which is not very nice. But I'm going to talk to you about Free Period, which is one of my favorite books that I have read this year. This is the story of 2 best friends, Helen and Gracie. They have gotten in trouble yet again for pulling pranks. Helen is on the verge of being sent to boarding school, and they're on the verge of being kicked out of school. And so as a recompense, I think, for their last prank that they pulled, they are assigned to join the community action club at school, where they discovered that the latest cause that this group has decided to take up is the cause to have access to menstruation products for all students in the school. And they're going to school board meetings. But Helen and Gracie have their own flavor of how they want to do this. Helen thinks that pranking the school is the way to get what they want. Gracie is like one of the cutest and most chaotic characters that I've read in a while. She loves to bake, and she wants to do it through baked goods, particularly baked goods that have things that look like period blood on them. So like raspberry jam cupcakes and stuff like that. It's hysterical, very funny. There is definitely a prank in this story involving a crocheted uterus. And Tanya actually pointed out that if you meet the author, she sometimes hands out crochet uteruses at her author signing events, which is amazing. So anyway, this is a really delightful story about these kids like fighting for this justice. They're quirky, they're super fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. And Manny Samia finds her Quetzal voice is a very similar theme. So if you're in middle school or you teach with middle schoolers and you're looking for some really approachable books that like talk about menstruation and like what that is and try to destigmatize it for people who menstruate, highly recommend either of these books, really.
And just FYI, Marissa got bingo.
Hooray! Congratulations. It's really not hard to get bingo, but I appreciate that you're paying attention.
I love me a good bingo game. Okay. These are my 2 books, Grounded, You Are Here. And in one of these books, there is a group of kids that is all stuck at the airport. They're all there for different reasons, and they're all affected differently by kind of the airport being at a stop. But they're running around, and they kind of band together to try to find a lost cat. Which one do you think it is? A is grounded, or B is you are here. There is a cover clue on this one too, if kids pay attention well enough. You can see the little cat tail peeking out. And both books are actually about kids stuck in an airport, just for different reasons. So in Grounded, they are grounded for a thunderstorm. All the planes have stopped. It is after this big Muslim convention, and 4 kids, we kind of get the different perspectives of 4 kids and their journey that day at the airport. One kid is stuck babysitting his younger sister, but he keeps losing her throughout the airport. One kid is intent on finding that lost cat, and she's the one who gets everyone together. Another kid is worried that he's going to miss his karate tournament if the planes don't get going. And then there's another kid who all she wants to do is make fun knock videos, which is like their version of TikTok. But her mom is like a strict congresswoman, and she's having a really hard time connecting. So these 4 kids get together and start searching for the lost cat in the airport, which causes a lot of chaos, but a lot of fun as well. And then You Are Here is about 12 different kids. There was an incident at security, and it's kind of all of their journeys that day at the airport, and they all come together in a fun way. And we have another bingo. Good job, Monica. All right.
Okay, for this one, heroes come in unexpected forms. I take notes from Catherine when it comes to like my tricky hooks. Do you think it's A or B? A would be Spectre Inspectors and B would be Youth Group. Apparently I was not tricky enough. This is indeed Youth Group. My trick here is that it's the same illustrator for both. So Youth Group is another brand new graphic novel that just came out that I have not stopped recommending to people because it was so much fun. It is about Kay, who reluctantly agrees to attend her newly divorced mother's church's youth group. She is not excited about this, and she's also not surprised when she goes to the first youth group meeting and finds a very, very perky, preppy, happy, very excited to be there girl leading it, which includes leading some songs that you may recognize. There are lots of 90s references sprinkled throughout those song choices in this book, which was wonderful. All those songs have been revamped to be more youth group and faith focused. But what Kay is surprised about is one night discovering Portland, who helps with the songs, and Meg, who is the youth group leader, exorcising a demon from Cortland's roommate. Turns out that while the youth group is indeed a faith-based youth group, it's also a demon hunting youth group. And there are demon hunting youth groups across faiths in the entire area. So much fun. This one felt a lot like Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, because they start going around exorcising the demons, and they recruit Kay when they discover that she is a blight, or a person who cannot be possessed by demons, which is making her a mark for this increase in this demon insurgence. So much fun, lots of fun and snarky humor. Again, tons of really wonderful 90s references, and also some really thoughtful exploration of identity and faith that I think would really resonate with readers, I would say grades 8 and up. And Spectre Inspectors is also kind of supernatural and spooky, also has some snarky humor in it, but it has more of a Scooby-Doo vibe. It's a group of friends who go searching for the supernatural.
Okay, so this story is about a rare endangered species being seen somewhere for the first time in a very long time. So, who thinks it's the secret language of birds? That's A. Or Bridge to Bat City? That's B. Again, my slide trick here is that both of these involve endangered species. It's not very nice. Anyway, but it's sort of magical in Bridge to Bat City, which is not the book that we're going to talk about. The Secret Language of Birds. This is the follow-up to Song for a Whale, if you're familiar with that one, which was about a deaf character who like figures out how to make a song for this whale that can't speak any other whale, can't communicate with any of the other whales. It was delightful. And this story is as well. My family and I are birders, and so I am always happy to have a fun bird watching story, and this one definitely delivered. It is whooping cranes that she discovers. The main character, Nina, is reluctantly going to summer camp. I don't blame her, because this is set in Southeast Texas, where I grew up, and it is like the armpit of hell in the middle of summer, and nobody actually wants to camp there. There's lots of bugs. It is not a fun time. It's not like Colorado, where it's like very cool in the shade and things like that. The humidity alone kills it. Anyway, that was my tangent. But she's going to summer camp with her aunt in East Texas, and she's really reluctant. She would rather like do her backyard bird watching. But then she comes across, there's this ritual to go out to this abandoned building at night because it might be haunted. But what she sees there, that she convinces the group of girls to set up a trail cam, and they discover that a pair of whooping cranes is nesting in the marsh outside of this old abandoned building. And they haven't seen whooping cranes in this area of East Texas in decades and decades. As you know, they're critically endangered. You may not know that. They're critically endangered species. Most whooping cranes actually are tagged. We know who they are. They even have names. And it seems like this particularly whooping crane, Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson, may have gone rogue, and they are now nesting out in East Texas. This story is delightful. It is really sweet, and it also teaches a lot about conservation. I super loved it, but I'm also super biased. So that's that one. Bridge to Bat City is a big departure from Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One's more normal stuff. And it is, if you're familiar with the Bat Bridge in Austin, Texas, where you can go and at sunset they fly out every night. This is sort of a magical imagining of how all of those bats ended up there, and it's pretty cute. Both of these are middle grade, I would say 4th or 5th grade and up.
I also loved both of those books, just so you know. They're both great. Okay, this is, we have Summer at Squee, or Unhappy Campers. And I will tell you that this is the story of a girl who goes to summer camp, is so excited about it, and then it turns out to be not what she expected. Do you think it's A or B? Okay. We're getting some mixed results, and that's what I love. This one was a good one to try to fool you all. So it's actually A, Summer at Squee. I mean, obviously, Unhappy Camper, she's not having a great time either. But in Summer at Squee, this is about a girl named, I might pronounce it wrong, but Feeny or Fenny. And she is so excited to have the best summer ever at camp. She's returning to Squee, which is summertime Chinese culture, wellness, and enrichment experience. I had to write that down so I wouldn't forget. And it's a culture camp. She's been going there for years. She's so excited. She's finally a senior camper. She'll get to stay with all of her friends in a cabin and have the most influence. But it turns out to be that that's not what happens. Fenny finds out that her and her friends have been split up. There are a bunch of new campers this year, and some of the new campers are not excited about being there and are kind of making things rough for everyone, including Fenny. Fenny needs to now figure out how to turn the summer around before it's too late. Unhappy Camper is a graphic novel. She wrote Measuring Up as well, if you ever read that one. And this one is about a girl, 2 siblings, Claire and Michelle. Michelle really wants to fit in, whereas Claire is kind of proud of who she is and her culture. And they're both being forced to go to a summer camp together, much to Michelle's dismay, because she wants to stay home and hang out with the popular girls. That is Summer at Squee and Unhappy Camper.
Okay, let's see if I was trickier with this one. If everybody's got secrets, how do you discover the truth? You think it's A, 6 truths and a lie, or B, 2 truths and a lie?
The covers don't even give anything away.
I know. some mixes, but it is Six Truths and a Lie. This one is a mystery suspense with some supernatural elements. It is set in California. We have 6 different narrators and we alternate between those narrators. I love a book that has multiple narrators where you alternate between their perspectives, and this one doesn't disappoint. These 6 students, these 6 teens, are all very, very different. They come from very different backgrounds. What they have in common is that they are all Muslim. And on the 4th of July, they are at the beach having a 4th of July party that seems to be going well, minus some, expected drama perhaps, until what they assume is a bomb explodes off the coast. And in the ensuing chaos, these 6 teens are very quickly arrested and falsely accused of being terrorists. Because these 6 teens have different backgrounds, they each spend a different amount of time in jail, and they each have a different experience with the legal system. What they all experience together, though, is that none of them is responsible for this bomb, and all of them are now fighting against an FBI agent who has her own reasons for wanting a quick conviction and doesn't really care about what the truth is. Some of these teens stay in jail the entire length of the investigation, and some of them get out and are determined to discover what actually happened while fighting against the incredible racism and prejudice that is happening in their area. I was consumed with quite a bit of anger for the racism in this book. It did feel very true to some of today's environment, and some of the things that you will read will be ripped from the headlines. So that's kind of my warning there. Not a light book to pick up, but very well written and really insightful. And I would recommend this for grades 7 and up. And Two Truths and a Lie is more your straightforward whodunit mystery where a group of teens end up going to this hotel resort and they start getting killed.
Okay, blind date with a book is the next engagement technique that we use, and we have used it in a couple of different ways. So we're going to do it PowerPoint style, just like we've been doing the other ways. Other ways that we have done it as a youth team is that we have put books in plain gift bags with numbers on them. So kids are just picking a number to choose the book. We've also done wrapped books up and done little words or sayings on them as well. So you'll kind of get a glimpse into what that looks like. Catherine, did you have something to say? I see you're unmuted.
No, it just could be any of us. So,
oh,
I forgot we had this slide. Look at that.
So yes, there's the numbered bags wrapped up as presents, animated slideshow. Yeah, everything I just said, perfect. Next. So blind date with a book. Choose what you would like to hear about. Enemies to lovers, typewriter as the main character, or Scooby-Doo for high schoolers. A, B, or C? Oh, goodness. What do you guys think?
I think I saw more B's or C's.
Okay. I can do it.
You can go ahead.
All right. This is typewriter as the main character. This is Olivetti. I really enjoyed this book. Again, our main character in this book is not your typical main character. It's not a human. It's not an animal. It's a typewriter, and his name is Olivetti. Being a typewriter these days is not easy. He's surrounded by books and computers, and he's just been collecting dust at this point. Olivetti has lived with the Brindle family for a long time. The mom, Beatrice, used to type on him a lot, but doesn't anymore. She's too busy. And one day, Olivetti is so excited because Beatrice is heading over. She's picking him up, only to be dropping him off at a pawn shop. Olivetti is confused, doesn't know what's happening, but that's when he starts to team up with Ernest. Ernest is Beatrice's son and is looking for his mom, wondering why she's missing, wondering where she went. And Olivetti does something that he never thought he would do. He breaks the one rule he's not supposed to, and he starts typing to Ernest, the son, and telling him all of Beatrice's memories and thoughts that were stored inside him so that they can maybe find Beatrice. Their search, which is full of chaos, takes them around San Francisco, getting them into trouble, chasing clues, and working together. This book was unlike anything that I've ever read, and I loved it.
We'll just give you a quick sentence about the others. Enemies to Lovers is rules for rule breaking, which involves two lactose intolerant Korean American teenagers who hate each other being forced to go on a college road trip together. They hate each other, or do they? Definitely has some K-pop vibes. It was very cute.
And Scooby-Doo for high schoolers is One Killer Problem, which is the most recent publication from my new favorite author, Justine Pucella Winans. If you haven't read The Other Woods, here's my recommendation for that one. This one is about a student who is not a great student and gets in detention a lot. One day in detention, discovers the murdered body of their favorite teacher and decides to do what they thought they would never do before and join their school's mystery club, which is not about mystery books, but instead is about solving murders.
All right, our next grouping is Great British Bake Off. I don't know if everyone knows of my GBBO abbreviation, but Murder, Hunger Games, or Teen Activism.
I mean,
I played to
think
the
we knew
adult
the Great
audience with
British
this.
Bake Off was going to win this one. Like, let's be real.
I did. I played to the adult audience. I think that probably teens would choose something else. It's a good choice. This is The Cookie Crumbles, which is a new middle grade book that just came out in June. It was adorable. Super loved it. Definitely Bake Off vibes meets Knives Out, murder at a baking competition. The person being murdered is the Paul Hollywood-esque character, which makes it even more funny. And super delightful. Two best friends, Layla and Lucy, are trying to get into the prestigious Sunderland Academy, which is a very expensive school. They need to get the Golden Cookie Scholarship, so they're going into this competition. And when Layla serves up her bake to be judged, the Paul Hollywood judge falls over, almost dead. And she's the prime suspect. So it is delightful, super cute. It goes behind the scenes of baking shows. It's got a bit of mystery, a lot of mystery, and will make you hungry, which is super good. You want to do a fast one of y'all's? Okay.
Fast ones, yeah. This is a game of Noctis. This is great for kids who liked the Hunger Games. It's about a girl who kind of has to get enough money to save her grandfather, which involves competing with a team in a series of various dangerous games, and only one team will come out at the end.
And Teen Activism is This Book Won't Burn, which is about a girl who takes on her school's recent pulling of about 500 books from their shelves. Fights back by starting a book club where they read these banned books aloud, and other activist activities that you will absolutely be cheering for. A really timely take on a very unfortunate climate of censorship attempts.
All right. Dating, we won't play because it's really much more physical and a lot of moving around. So it's a little bit more difficult to recreate in a virtual environment. But I think versions of this have been done various times. Sometimes what we do is put a bunch of books out and let kids kind of look through them, and then they'll tell. Sometimes we put them into groups and we have like 5 minutes to talk.
Did you freeze? Okay, I couldn't tell if it was my internet.
Yeah, I think
I wondered the same thing.
Is it my internet is frozen?
Yeah, you froze.
I got an unstable message. Yeah, not sure where it cut off, but sorry, guys. Yeah. So book speed dating. What's the last thing you heard?
Sometimes you 5 minutes and you'll tell kids about the books in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. So just go as fast as you can. I've seen people do it with worksheets where they have kids fill out little information about the worksheets as well. So that one's pretty adaptable depending on what you want to do. We also like to let kids vote at the end. It's always helpful for us too to get some of that immediate feedback about what they are most excited about reading first. And so what we're going to do here at the end is have you go to, so switch out of your bingo screen and go to menti.com and put in the code 9620047. And I'm going to open up the Menti screen here in just a second, and we will have you vote. So this is kind of a pin type voting. So you can just tap on the book cover that you're most interested in reading and then hit submit. And we should get live results to it as you start voting. So again, that code is 9620047.
I put it into chat. Well, now you did too.
Oh, you just did. Here they come. So we sometimes have them vote with pencils or slips of paper. Sometimes the teachers go back to the class and they create a little poll for the kids to vote on. So it varies, but it's always nice to, like I said, to get that immediate feedback and see which one gets the most votes. So yeah. I'm going to leave it on this for a minute while people are voting so we can see. But that's kind of the end of our suggestions. We have like 1 minute if anyone has any questions. The other thing that we will do is the slides will be available on the CSL and session website. Our contact information is on there as well. So if you're interested in learning more, hearing more about it, if you live or you're not live, but if your school is within our service area and you're interested in having us come to the school, that's also something we can talk about. But definitely reach out if you have questions. We're always happy to talk more about this. It's a lot of fun.